This is the Overwatch Season 20 competitive best and worst heroes to play. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. I am Stylosa. Now in this video, we're going to do something a little bit different than we usually do for these meta tier lists. We're going to turn this into an actual tier list. We're going to break this down into tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Oh yeah, guys, and remember, if you really enjoy this video, do like the video and subscribe to the channel and click the bell. I know I'm saying this in a lot of recent videos, but this is massive now. On YouTube, if you've got a lot of people on your channel that have clicked the bell, it shows your video to more people, so it means our community grows. I know it's a bit annoying me asking for this all the time, but if you guys could do that, that would be awesome. All right, let's get stuck into this. These tiers will show, well, the first tier will show the absolute best bang for buck heroes you can play. You can effectively one-trick these heroes, and you will probably get very high on the ladder if you keep playing and grinding away. The other tiers will represent heroes that do work, and what I will say is tier 3, I don't really want to call it tier 3. It's almost like, I don't know, like a special team comp tier, because these heroes can work, because I'm going to put Bastion in tier 3, just a bit of a spoiler there. But if you've got a comp that works with Bastion, then he will work. But what we're focusing on here is heroes you can play to get the most bang for buck, to gain the most SR, and just be the most effective in competitive right now, or at least in the new season. Okay, so Blizzard decided to try and remove double barrier meta, which was a good move, only it didn't work because Orisa and Sigma are still the best tanks in the game. They are highly adaptable. They've both got barriers. Yes, they're nerfed, but barriers are still pretty effective, guys. I mean, hint, they stop the enemy shooting your team. That is incredibly powerful. They've got awesome defensive abilities. Sigma's got his defense matrix, his kind of mini vortex suck. Orisa's got her fortify, which is now super buffed, so she doesn't really die. She's also got 50 extra armor as well, because why not? These tanks are just incredible. Sigma's got a stun. Sigma's ultimate is literally game-changing, game-winning ultimate. Fantastic heroes. Just those are the main tanks to play. Then we go on to DPS, and we look at Mei, we look at Hanzo, we look at Reaper, Widow, and Doomfist. Now, Mei is very strong because she's Mei. She's a tank, basically. She slows down the fight. She's got an amazing ultimate. She's highly frustrating to play. She gets a lot of value. She is a hero which will probably get nerfed at some point. In fact, she's a hero that was buffed as a result of GOAT's meta back in the day to counter tank comps, and then Blizzard never reverted the buffs, which were things like the multi-freeze, which is quite frankly ridiculous, and all of these other abilities. Mei is stupid, and she's really, really powerful right now, so play Mei. She's also really good at breaking up the team. She can cut off the enemy tank line. She's just fantastic. She's just a really good hero. She's a DPS tank kind of disruptive hero. She's just so much value on that hero. And of course, the next hero that's got a load of value is Hanzo. Now, Hanzo is broken. He is straight up broken in Overwatch, and it's been broken for a while. Namely, when they changed his scatter arrow to storm arrows, and then, well, that was just ridiculous. And then they decided to remove one of the arrows that he had in the, I guess, can I call it magazine of arrows? I don't even, quiver. No, it's a quiver, isn't it? But he'd have 6 shots, wouldn't he? They reduced it to 5. Because I thought that would be enough. It's not enough. Hanzo is still ridiculous. But the reason why people play Hanzo is, yes, you get a lot of return, a lot of value from the hero, but he's very good against barriers, and if the enemy have got Orisa and Sigma, or even a Reinhardt, or anybody with a barrier, Hanzo will rip the barrier down. That's why he's stupidly effective right now. The next hero is Reaper. Reaper is extremely good in brawly fights, and the meta is kind of being a little bit brawly right now. It's almost like a little bit deathmatchy. Reaper's got self-heal. Reaper's got very fast repositioning ability. He's got a fairly decent ultimate, namely because you don't see too much Diva, so he can basically just ult at will and nothing can really stop him unless you're going to throw a Mei wall in his face or try and sleep him with Ana if there is an Ana on your team, or maybe Sigma rushes up to him and uses his vortex on him. But he just gets a massive amount of value. Reaper, he's very similar to Hanzo, so go for it. You can't really go wrong. You just stay with your team, walk into the enemy team and destroy them. I know he's not similar in the sense of, I know there's guys out there going, Sty, Hanzo is a ranged hero, Reaper's actually point blank range. No, what I mean by that is you get a lot of value by the heroes, and much more than you would say playing a Soldier 76, Rip Soldier. So yeah, Reaper, incredibly good. Now, the next DPS I want to talk about is Widow. Now, the reason why I've put Widow here at the top is we laugh and we joke about Widow, and we say she's got an infinite skill ceiling, and that is actually true. If you land the shots with Widow, you can change any game. It doesn't matter if they've got double barrier. You can just rotate around the barriers, get that kill, and off you go. Very powerful hero, but you have to be able to land the shot. So she's a little bit of a dubious, I guess, add to the tier 1 list, but I think Widow ultimately is probably always tier 1 if you are a tier 1 Widow. If you're a terrible Widow, don't play Widow. You will get no value. And the final DPS on this list is Doomfist. Now, Doomfist, it was nerfed, and it didn't really do anything because Doomfist is still stupidly effective. Now, when you look at what the enemy team comp probably is, if they're running the meta comp of Orisa, Sigma, Mei, Hanzo, Baptiste, Moira, for example, it's going to be hard for Doomfist to get value there, but he can still get value. He can still go in, he could still delete the Baptiste. In fact, he can knock Baptiste out of his immortality field with the uppercut and kill him. There's a lot he can do, Doomfist. So Doomfist is still incredibly powerful. And of course, we're talking here about competitive and Overwatch. This isn't organized teams. We're talking about the heroes you get the most value playing, and you can get incredible value playing Doomfist, just deleting members of the enemy team, which is always going to be what that hero is strong at. And remember, you get a load of shields as well when you dive into the enemy team, so almost certainly you'll be able to dive back out. Now, the supports here are a little bit of a simpler tale, and it's basically Moira, Baptiste, and I'm going to throw Zen in as tier 1. Now, namely because I enjoy Zen, but Zen does add a lot to the game here. What Zen gives you is the ability to rip down the tanks that have got a lot of survivability, but the problem is he needs to be really looked after. So if you've got a Baptiste on your team, that Baptiste needs to look after you playing Zen. Now, I think that kind of sums up Zen. He's just an artillery cannon with a massive debuff, which you can apply to targets so to take extra damage, which is what Zen's always been about. And he's got Transcendence, which is a good ultimate, but it doesn't really have too much use in the massive kind of double barrier sort of Reaper, Hanzo, or maybe you throw Doomfist kind of meta in there. And in fact, if the enemy team have got Doomfist, they will probably just kill you and Zen. So you need to really watch out for that. So Zen again, yes, he can be tier 1, but maybe a little bit dubious there. One who is exactly tier 1 is Baptiste, as we touched on. This is the best support in the game. In fact, you could probably say one of the best heroes in the game right now. He brings you so much. He's got an ability which just cancels out everybody else's ability. Aziz, plural, which is Immortality Field, which is an incredible ability, and it's frankly a bit mad that this is actually in the game. Loads of utility, loads of value off that ability. Not only that, he puts out quite a lot of damage. Of course, you'll be healing with him, so you're not sitting there doing damage all the time, but there is that sting in the tail with Baptiste where he can put out quite a bit of damage. And again, he's very difficult for DPS to focus on. Doomfist can take him out, but then what about Tracer? What about Genji? They don't really have a chance against Baptiste. He can just self-heal. He can drop Immortality Field down. He can fire at them a few times. He can jump up in the air. He can do a load of different stuff. And of course, he's got Amplification Matrix, which works extremely well with Zen's Discord Orb at destroying enemy front lines, barriers, and all kinds of wonderfulness. Of course, Zen's Discord doesn't affect barriers, but you get what I'm saying. Amp Matrix destroys the barrier, a Discord goes on to the Reinhardt or the Orisa or whatever, and the rest of the team just burn through with the damage. It is frankly quite sickening. And Moira is just Moira. She's always going to be good. She's got massive AoE healing. She's very easy to play because she's got a get out of jail card, where in fact I think Moira is probably the easiest support to play, because if things are going bad, you just go into Fade and run away. And then you come back. And Moira's got this thing where she's really good at disengaging and re-engaging back into the fight. So yeah, those are the tier 1 picks, guys. Just to quickly wrap through them, we've got Orisa, Sigma, Mei, Hanzo, Reaper, Baptiste, Zen, Moira, Widow, and Doomfist. You play those heroes, you probably won't go wrong. But one thing I will say is if you're playing Zen and the enemy team are, maybe your support is not a main healer, you need to play a main healer. You need to pick the Bap, or you need to pick the Moira. And on the other hand, if they're burning you down with Doomfist, for example, that's really diving you hard, or maybe they're using dive comp and you're not getting any protection off your Baptiste that you might have, then consider swapping to Moira. It's all about value. It's all about doing things to get the most return. That's all Overwatch has ever really been about, because you can't control what your teammates are doing, but you kind of have to work around what they've got. So that, guys, is basically the best heroes right now in this meta. Those are the heroes that you should be playing. Now, what I'm going to do for the remainder of this video is we're going to pretty quickly go through the Tier 2 and Tier 3, although Tier 3 is kind of like... In fact, Tier 2 and Tier 3, it's pretty much like these are your specialist heroes, your heroes you can use now, work in certain comps and that kind of stuff. So I don't want you guys to be disheartened and go, well, Sty, your Tier 1 list, I don't play any of those heroes, so I'm just going to be terrible. That's not entirely true. Things can still work, but just be, remember, those Tier 1 heroes are super strong right now in Overwatch. Okay, so Tier 2, we've got Reinhardt, we've got Zarya, Pharah, Symmetra, pretty good against barriers. McCree, if you can aim. Genji, I was kind of like a little bit... I was umming and ahhing putting Genji into this Tier 2 slot because I still think Genji suffers a lot. There's a lot of things out there which just mess Genji up, and he has a really bad time. Even though he did get buffed by Blizzard, but it really wasn't enough. Mercy, I'm going to put her there just because the Tier 1 list for supports is just like, so powerful. Anna as well, and then finally Hammond. So all those heroes are fine. You know, they will work. If you look at the meta team comp and say it's Orisa, it's Sigma, it's Hanzo, it's Mei, it's Baptiste, and then you play Anna, well, that's fine. That's totally fine. Or maybe it's that same team comp and you play Mercy, and so you got Baptiste, Mercy as support comp. It's totally fine. Or if we go through it again and say Orisa, Sigma, McCree, Hanzo, Baptiste, Moira, it's totally fine. So you can see there is flexibility like that. But again, just remember, tier 1 are the heroes that you get the most value off. And of course, you could do this with all the heroes. I'm not going to sit here and go through this over and over again because we could just go Reinhardt, Sigma, Mei, Hanzo, Moira, Baptiste. Okay? You get what I'm saying, right, guys? Just interchange them like that, but make sure you've always got that solid backbone in the team. And finally, this is the heroes which are kind of out there. And there's one hero which I haven't really touched on. And you guys are probably thinking, well, Sty, surely this would be at least a tier 2 hero in your mind. And that's Roadhog. And I want to say yes, and I want to say no. The thing with Roadhog is if you get to play Roadhog because the enemy team let you, then you play Roadhog and you will win the game if you're a tank. If the other tank on your team is a Reinhardt or an Orisa. If it's a Sigma and you're playing the Roadhog, you're going to have a really bad time because your team have no protection and you won't be able to do anything really as your team just get killed over and over again. It doesn't matter if you're off flanking and doing all kinds of mad stuff. It just isn't going to matter. Or you're there at the front line trying to burn down the enemy barriers. You don't have enough barriers on your team. You're going to suffer. But if the enemy team are mad and the enemy team have got a team comp of, let's say, Hammond and D.Va as their tank line, and you've got an Orisa on your team, you can play Roadhog and you just win the game. You instantly win the game. You counter both of those heroes. You can just do whatever you like to the rest of the team. So there are windows of opportunity where to play Roadhog. And he's a hero that I will pull out. I'm not the best with him, but I will pull him out if I see that the enemy team have a particularly good Hammond player, for example, or a particularly good maybe even Winston, or even a D.Va. Like, D.Va is probably the worst hero in the game right now. But if you see the D.Va, you're just going to play the Roadhog and kill it. Because it's going to be a 5v6 every single fight, which is actually pretty ridiculous, but also massively sad at the same time. Yeah, so then like Winston, again, he's kind of like not in a great place right now as this tier 3 sort of specialist pick. Great if you're going to play dive, because he's the only dive tank, dive main tank that is, but you take Hammond with him. The only other dive comp you could theoretically look at would be Hammond D.Va, and I don't think you're going to roll that just because it's too easy to do damage to. Hammond will survive, but D.Va, she's going to really suffer. You probably would want the Hammond and the Winston, which can totally work again. Again, the issue with dive is you're probably going into a Baptiste, which, you know, he's very good at dealing with dive. You're probably going into a Mei. You can't dive a Mei. You're probably going into Hanzo. He's pretty good at dealing with dive. And or a Reaper, which, again, is probably going to be a problem if you're Winston, which, again, is Winston's issue. All of the heroes that are strong right now just kill Winston. So unlucky Winston. Bastion, this is a hero which can work if you've got pirate ship comp, for example. If you don't, you're not just going to play him in the game because you're not going to get anything done, which is terrible. Junkrat, again, can work, might not work, could work. Depends on the map a lot, which is a thing a lot of people say. They would like to see a map-specific meta for Overwatch where we go into a world of... It's not so much like this is just a team comp we run all the time. It's like, oh, this is Hanamura, we play this comp, or these heroes are stronger. Oh, it's King's Row, we play this comp, these heroes are stronger. It does happen a little bit, but generally people just roll the meta comp, which is unlucky. Sombra, I mean, Sombra... You tell me about Sombra, guys. She's just out there. She can work again. You know, I've played against Sombra players that have been very good because the enemy team have worked with them. And I've played against Sombra players that have just done nothing because they don't do enough damage. They don't coordinate with their team with the MP and all of that stuff. So again, yeah, it's always the value thing, guys. That's what you have to remember. I know it's a bit of a meme, but it is just straight up value. If you play Hanzo, will you get more value than Sombra? Yeah. If you play Mei, will you get more value than Sombra? Yeah. That's just how you work this out in your head. It's so simple. I'm going to throw Torb in there again. Yeah, Torb. Ashe, not great position right now for Ashe. McCree is definitely the best hit scan hero. Well, probably Baptiste is the best hit scan hero, if we're real. But yeah, you would take the McCree over the Ashe, almost certainly. That's not to say she can't work. She can work, but again, it's just this issue or idea of value. Soldier 76 is in a really poor place right now. I mean, you can do some stuff with Soldier. I have played quite a bit of Soldier. And it will sound rich me saying this, but I think I've got like a 62% win rate over 20 matches with Soldier on the I think on the Spitfire account. That's pretty high, but it's I don't think it's reflective of the hero's ability. It's simply because I was playing against teams that I think were just throwing, and I was just doing mad flanks all of the time, which sometimes worked and sometimes didn't. I just don't think once the meta settles back into what it is, he's going to work. I just think you're just not going to pick him. It's unlucky for Soldier. He needs something extra, and I don't really know. I think, like, the problem with this is if I start saying what I want Soldier to get, it's more like what I want, so I will play him. It's not particularly balanced stuff, so I'm just going to leave Soldier at that. Tracer, yeah, same sort of position, I guess, as Genji, really. Poor Tracer. Lucio can work. I mean, he's, again, one of the heroes that probably could be tier 1, could be tier 2. Can work, just depends on what's going on with your team. Are you speeding into the enemy? What team comp you're running? Again, you have to make that decision yourself. And finally, Brig. Brig can work. I mean, I made a video on the channel where I was like, look, Brig is a bit of a hidden support. She can work. You pull Brig out, the enemy team don't know what to do, and they can't really... It's not so much they can't kill the Brig, but the Brig offers so much to your tanks and your brawly comps, where if we're having a fight on... I think I remember the video was on Nepal. I think it was on Shrine. I think it was Shrine. It might have been Sanctum. No, I think it was Shrine I showed you guys. Maybe it was the whole map, but when you're fighting over a point like that, she becomes incredibly strong if you've got a Reinhardt on your team, and you're just going crazy. So that is the tier list, guys, for Season 20 of competitive Overwatch. It's pretty much the same story as Season 19, unfortunately. What I would look to do is, if you are really looking to climb the ladder, specialize in one hero, but pick from the tier 1 list. This kind of makes me a bit sad saying this, because I remember way back in the day, the whole idea of Overwatch was you're supposed to swap your hero to counter what the enemy team are doing, and don't just one-trick a hero. That's never been the case, so just one-trick a hero. I'm going to say if you're a tank player and all you're concerned about is rank, you should be playing Orisa or Sigma. Depends on what the other tank is playing on your team. If they pick Sigma, you play Orisa. If they pick Hammond, you still pick Orisa, right? If they pick Roadhog, you still pick Orisa. Orisa, Roadhog, that obviously is a good comp. They pick Winston, well, then you're probably going to have to go for a Hammond if we're going dive, or you go for an Orisa if the rest of your team doesn't pick a dive comp. That's how you do it. DPS, you just play Mei, Hanzo, or Reaper. That's literally it. McCree if you're feeling fancy. And support, you're playing Baptiste or Moira. Or maybe you're going to throw in the Zen if you're feeling jazzy. Alright guys, I'm going to leave the video at that. Again, there are heroes like Widow, Doomfist, which do work really well as a tier 1 hero if you get things done. But yeah, I want you guys to let me know in the comments below. This has been a pretty comprehensive video. I do like to make these at the start of competitive seasons because I think it's a really good like refresh just to see where we are in the game and where the game is and how we go forward and all of that jazz. But yeah, alright guys, I'll catch you lovely lot on the next video. Toodaloo.